There we go. We are live. Hello, everyone.
Awesome.
Actually, I should say aloha because I'm not at home. I'm coming to you from my favorite place, my happy place. And I have with me today one of my favorite authors, Ethān Joella. Ethān, you live in Delaware.
I do, yeah.
Do you live in a beach town?
I do. Rehoboth Beach, Delaware. It's a little quieter this week, which has been nice. It's kind of a break. I think all the college students going back.
So I was thinking about this morning because I thought to myself, I was sitting out on my lanai. I'm about 10 feet from the waves. And I thought, we all complain about technology and the internet, but we're going to do something today that we couldn't have done just a few years ago, which is you are on the coast of the Atlantic Ocean. And I'm all the way over here in Hawaii on the coast of the Pacific. And we're sitting here having a conversation, which I think is pretty cool, actually.
Yeah, it is. I mean, once in a while, the marvel of that strikes you, and it does feel very futuristic, very Jetsons.
Yeah. Like, when your book is set, and this is, before we do anything else, this is Ethān's most recent book, Top of the World, the Top of the World. I always want to leave out the Top of the World.
Me too.
Which I just loved so much. But this book is set in 1974, which that's the year I graduated from high school. And I'm a little appalled that he's writing historical fiction of a time I well remember, but okay, we won't go there. And, in those days, something like this was just not even thought of. Our idea of the future was the Jetsons, and they had a robot and a hover car, but
Yeah, it really surprised me when I saw this started to get categorized as an historical novel. That was just, I never thought I would be writing historical fiction, and I don't think of the 70s or 80s or 90s as historical, but they have American Girl dolls. So.
But, when you stop and think about it, it was 52 years ago that I graduated from high school. So that is a long time ago in human lives and in world events and in technology and all the rest of it. So I guess it's fair that they categorize them that way, but it's still, I saw one, Janelle Brown's book, What Kind of Paradise, is set in the 90s, and they called that historical fiction. And I kind of went, okay, now that's a little bit too far.
Yeah,
Come on, guys.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen rotary phones at antique stores, so it's just.
But, the 60s and 70s, okay, I'll give them that. And that's when this book is set. But you did, and we're going to get into it, but you did such a beautiful job of telling the story in an era that obviously you were not around to remember, but I remembered it, and you did so well. So let's go back for a moment. This is actually your fourth book. You started out with A Quiet Life. No, A Little Hope.
Yeah.
Little Hope. That was the first one. That was a Jenna pick, right?
That was a Read with Jenna bonus pick.
Right out of the box, you got a Jenna pick. Wow, that's great.
Yeah,
and then came A Quiet Life, which we were just talking about, which just utterly destroyed me. And I love that cover so much.
Yeah,
because once you read the book, those birds, you're going to get it. It means so much.
Yeah, the cover designer has just never failed on all of my books. She's just done an amazing job. The sun is really coming in this way. Sorry, I'll see if I can reposition myself.
And next came, do you have the next one there?
I do. This is my hometown, the Same Bright Stars in Rehoboth.
Yes, the Same Bright Stars. Again, a wonderful cover, a great story. And now we're up to the Top of the World, which I see a lot of people on Instagram posting about and using the Carpenter song, which I remember distinctly, but I'm not quite sure it fits with the story, but it certainly evokes that year,
It definitely does. There's a handful of different songs people will use, and one is I think Imagine Dragons has the Top of the World song, and the Carpenters Top of the World song. So it's nice though. They always put me in a good mood when I hear those.
Yeah, the Carpenter ones is a little upbeat, I think, but it all works out, so it's okay.
Yeah.
When somebody first did that, I went, oh, I don't know. Anyway, so let's go back to the beginning, and it does, of course, the title does have meaning in the book. Let's go back and let's have readers get to know you a little bit. If they don't know you by now, if they're not familiar with you, you're an East Coast guy. You grew up somewhere near the Poconos, I think I heard.
I did northeastern Pennsylvania in the Lehigh Valley, so about 25 minutes from the Poconos or so.
Yeah. So have you always lived back east?
I did. I am an East Coast. I bleed East Coast blood. It's really difficult for me to go anywhere else. It's just the vibe is different. So I love the Northeast, the Mid Atlantic. That's just how I how I see the world.
Well, it's home. I'm probably the same way West Coast, because I grew up California, and I don't know. I've never lived anywhere else. And it's just where we feel comfortable.
No, we're a very big country. I mean, even Pennsylvania itself is like 6 different countries with different parts to it.
Right. Well, I'm on this island that has like 7 different microclimates. So,
yeah.
But anyway, so you went to school back there then. Where did you go to college?
Muhlenberg College in Allentown, Pennsylvania, but not too far from home. But then I have a few different graduate degrees. So I did one in New Jersey. I did one in Mississippi, which was so different, but I really loved the culture of Mississippi. Where else? In Pennsylvania, I did one. And then Texas A&M Commerce, I got my master's in psychology from there.
So you have 4 graduate degrees?
I do. I have 3 masters and a doctorate with, and I hate to say that because I sound ridiculous and I sound like I'm bragging, but I really just liked. I have 2 graduate degrees in creative writing because I just liked having the deadlines for writing, and then I did a bout with the social sciences as well for my other masters and my doctorate.
That explains a lot. That explains a lot in your writing.
I could never do all that again. It was, and I did it. My wife and I both did our doctorates with 2 really young kids. I think our younger daughter was 2 when we defended our dissertation. So we were just constantly balancing a kid on our laps and doing work and trying. Okay, you go do 45 minutes. I'll do 45 minutes. But it was a lot of fun.
I can relate because I had a kid in the middle of law school, and I don't recommend that.
No, yeah, I don't think now. My wife and I were just talking about that recently. I don't think I could take the smallest class where I would have to write like a 3-page paper. I don't think I could do any of that. I can write a novel, but I cannot write like a 3 or 4 page paper.
No, my husband and I used to laugh. I said we should get T-shirts made that said we survived the 3rd year of the George School of Law, because my son was born in November. My father died in January, and it was just a nightmare year in many ways, just trying to hold everything together, but you're young and you just put one foot in front of the other. I mean, now that I'm older, I'm like, I don't even know how I did that.
No. And even the amount of sleep you can get by on then, like in your 20s and 30s, you can get 3-4 hours of sleep and be okay and have a full day. And now, if I wake up, it's terrible.
No, yesterday I sat around here like a zombie after the flight and everything, just trying to, catch up on sleep and adjust to the time change. And it's like, so no, I couldn't do it now. But that's why but you're a college professor now, right?
I am. Yeah, I've been for 25 years. I've been teaching college. I really enjoyed it. I'm mostly online these days because with the books and with traveling with the books, teaching schedule does not meld well with that. But I love teaching college. I love working with students.
Yeah, I was going to say, you can certainly relate to them and their struggles because you've been there and you've done that and
definitely
had to get through all those classes.
Sleep and young kids and all those things. And I have a lot of non-traditional students, either adult students or students in the military, and you just see a lot of that, but I think they're just so interesting. They're out living their lives too, and grown-up struggles.
So let's go back. When you were a kid, were you a big reader?
I was. So we used to go a lot. My parents would go to Rehoboth Beach. My dad's family started coming here in the 1950s. So my parents would take us in the 80s. That was my very first place I went when I was a baby. I was supposed to be due May 20th, and I was a month late, June 20th. My poor mom. So my parents had rented a place down at the Delaware beaches for 4th of July week, thinking the baby would be a little old by then, but I was just born, so they couldn't get the rental money back, so they took me here. So that was my very first vacation when I was about 2 weeks old or so. And I always tell everyone I came and I never wanted to leave.
Wow. So what kind of books were you reading as a kid?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I got off, I got off topic
No,
there.
that's okay.
Um,
That was interesting.
in Delaware, we used to always go to Browse About Books, which is still there since 1974, I believe, or 1972. It's our local indie bookshop, and my parents, we were not spoiled because there were four of us, and money was tight in a lot of ways. But at the bookstore, we were spoiled that way. Like if we read two books, they would say, "All right, go back and get another one." So I would read
Oh,
like,
nice.
yeah, I just remember, and Browse About at the time had this back state, like this almost like a built up level for kids, for like, I don't know what that would be, maybe middle grade readers or something. So there was like this private section in the back, and you'd walk up these stairs, and they had like Hardy Boys books and Beverly Cleary and Judy Blume and just all those just amazing books, and they smelled amazing, and they just were. I would just stand there and like pour over them. I remember buying Socks by Beverly Cleary and really liking it, and the one in the middle is The Green Kangaroo. My sister loved the Berenstain Bears books, so she would get those, but I would read those too. I loved those.
Yeah.
There was just I think there were a lot of great books out at that time.
There were, my kids read Goosebumps.
Yes, that was a little after my time.
Yeah.
More of like my sister, I remember her reading those, but they always, I think I still read a couple of hers.
Yeah. I bought Berenstain Bears books for mine, but I know it seemed like every week we were buying 3 or 4 Goosebumps books because they just were coming out like crazy, and that was their era.
Any author that gets a kid to read like that is just what an amazing accomplishment.
Right? What else was big? Boxcar Children, I think, and well, of course, Hardy Boys. Those are just timeless.
Yeah, and like I know my wife would read like the Babysitters Club and what's the other, Sweet Valley Twins. That was huge then when we were growing.
So when did you know you wanted to write? Were you starting to do that as a kid?
Yeah, from a really, really young age. I used to tell my family members that I used to say I wanted to be a poet in Paris. I don't know why I would say that. And I didn't know what it meant to be a poet. I didn't know what Paris was all about. But that was, I think when I was like 5 years old, I would say that. But I used to write poems in second grade, and I had a great aunt in her 80s. Her name was Aunt Stella, and she would take my poetry and bring them to the local newspaper, and not ask nicely. She would demand that they publish my poetry, and she just said that she just thought I had something to say, and she really liked my words, and I think it meant a lot. So they kind of like acquiesced. They never had published like a 8-year-old or however old I was at the time.
Oh wow! Did you saw the newspapers?
I have some of them. Yeah, I do.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and she really, I think they pushed back, and she just let them have it. So I always say she was my first literary agent.
That's great that you had somebody like that was championing you.
I think so, especially as a middle child too, because I was the third boy in my family, and then I have a younger sister. I think you're just so easily kind of absorbed into all the chaos of a big family. And I think to have somebody notice you specifically and what you have to say, does a lot for you and leaves a mark in you. So yeah, I remember then in like later, maybe 5th grade, I wrote a script for Growing Pains, and I mailed it into them on note cards, and they didn't write back. But I just always wanted, in college, I remember taking a fiction writing class, and that just changed my life. I remember the visiting writer was Chang-Rae Lee, and he came to our campus and signed books.
Wow.
And I just fell in love with that mystique of being an author. And I wanted to teach as well. I wanted to be a writing teacher as well. And those two worlds were my dream.
So you were right on track, and you got exactly what you went for in life.
Many years later, the teaching came really right away, right when I was out of college. But I remember telling, my wife and I were dating during college, and I remember saying, I have it all figured out. I just want to be a writer, and I'll write a novel by the time I graduate college, and I'll find an agent, and then that'll be that. I don't have to worry about the day job. And it took, I don't know, maybe 20 years more than that to get an agent and to get published. So a lot of rejection built into the field, and I got slapped with a lot of it over and over.
Well, but you got there eventually. That's what counts.
Definitely. Yeah, it was just such a big dream. And the way it finally happened, I wouldn't have wanted it. I wouldn't have traded that for the world. Like I wouldn't have wanted something earlier that was less than what I got. So it was definitely worth the wait.
Well, so let's go back. Your first published book is A Little Hope.
Yes.
But was that actually the first book you wrote, or are there some in file cabinets and stuffed under
There's
beds that
some
we'll
under,
never see?
yeah, I would say that I have a few that went under the bed. I think I wrote 4 books before A Little Hope. And I mean, you just do that. And with kids and graduate school and work and stuff, you have such a small amount of time for writing for something that you deem almost like a hobby.
Right.
So you get, okay, the baby's sleeping. I have 40 minutes, maybe if I'm lucky. So do I write something new? Do I fix something old? Do I spend time like researching markets that I can submit to a literary journal or to an agent? And it just feels so frustrating that sometimes I would just get overwhelmed and not do anything. But yeah, I don't know. When you're getting rejected, you can get so close and it doesn't matter because no matter how, like I had a really big agent that was interested in the book I had written prior to A Little Hope, and she held on to it for over a year. And you can't do anything else because you just think, well, if she wants it, I don't want anyone else to have it.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how close you get, you're back to ground zero at the beginning. But after I wrote A Little Hope, I still got a lot of rejections with it, but something told me this is not going under the bed with the rest of them. I felt like it was I felt like I had written the kind of novel I wanted to read. And I don't know. It's easy to say now in retrospect, like maybe I knew it was going to be published, but it does feel so discouraging at the time. But I just felt like I shouldn't give up. I had started A Quiet Life. I didn't find a publisher for A Little Hope, so I had started writing A Quiet Life. And that's why those 2 books are only a year apart, because I was kind of sitting on almost 2 at that point when I found my agent. But yeah, it was September 2019. I had signed up for a local novel group. And at the end of the night, I came home really like energized, because when you're around other writers, you feel energized. And it's just that's why I always tell people, take a writing class. You'll feel happier about writing. You'll feel more excited to write. Yeah, and I came home from that writing class and I said, you know what? Before I go to bed tonight, I'm going to send out 3 query letters, 3 more. And I had no one left to send to, because in New York, I had gotten rejected by probably every literary agent in New York. So I think I Googled best agents 2019 or something like that. And Madeline Milburn came up, and she was based in England. And I thought, well, that's a country I haven't ruined. Yeah, I haven't gotten rejected from this. London hasn't sent me away yet. And the more I was reading about her, I just felt like there's some kind of link there, because she said she liked Elizabeth Strout type writing, and I love Elizabeth Strout.
Yeah,
that would be my dream to write like Elizabeth Strout. And I was reading at the time Eleanor Oliphant is Completely Fine. I don't know if you've read that book or not, by Gail Honeyman. And I saw that this agent had represented her, so I sent her my sample chapters and my usual query letter, and I didn't think anything of it because, like I said, submitting is you have to just keep doing it, and you keep getting rejected, and it just becomes like this terrible assembly line. But the next day she had written me back, and she said she read the sample chapters and she wanted to read the whole thing. And she was flying to New York and she wanted to read it on the plane. So I sent it to her, but you just try to like, okay, I'm not thinking about it. It's not a big deal because this happens all the time. But like 3 days later, she just wrote me this amazing long letter, and I kept looking for the but part, and there was no but part, because usually it's, this is nice, but sorry, I won't be able to represent you. And there was no but part. And we were actually going to New York that week. We had gotten my daughter Broadway tickets. And we got to, I told her we were going to be there, and she said, I must meet with you. And it was just so beautiful. It was a beautiful September day. I always think of that around this time of year, because it was just New York City pre-COVID on this beautiful September day. And she became my agent that day, and we had like lunch in Rockefeller, by like where the ice skaters would be. It was just magical. It really was. And then she sold my book then that March 2020 during COVID. I think I was one of the last meetings Scribner had in their offices.
Wow.
Yeah,
But it was
really.
all meant to be that way.
It definitely, and really an exciting but very uncertain time. I mean, everything was new. They had to know. My editor kept saying, normally we would be doing this, but we're all working from home. And
Right.
the first edits she had sent me got lost in the mail. It never found its way to me. But fortunately, right before she mailed it off, she had thrown it in the scanner and scanned the whole thing. So she had a PDF of that she could mail to me. But yeah, it was really, really exciting.
So how did you become a Jenna alternate pick? How does that work? I've always wondered what the mystery is there.
So the publicity departments of the publishers are constantly pitching like the ones. I don't know what the timeline is. I would say probably almost a year out, if not more, that they're pitching the book clubs and things like that. And they do such a great job of networking and having these connects. But like the Jenna people, there's a ton of Read with Jenna people, and I can't imagine what that's like to just be reading all these books and then saying,
right,
hey, I think you should try this one. I think you should read this one. So they told me I think it was maybe like 9 months from publication, they told me about that Jenna wanted to do a bonus pick for November 2021. And they would announce it like mid-month or so. And it was just so, I was not expecting that at all, but you can't tell anybody about it. So
right.
you have to just sit on that. And I told my wife and my kids, and I told nobody else. I didn't tell my mom or my wife's family or anything.
Well, I'm sure they make you sign all sorts of agreements that you won't tell.
No, we didn't have to. I didn't have to sign.
Oh, they didn't?
No, it's not.
I'm shocked.
Yeah, I mean, maybe for the main picks, maybe, but I don't know. It's pretty. It's kind of like a secret, but a lot of people end up actually knowing it, I guess. I don't know. But it was really exciting, and it was so frustrating anytime a family member would be like, oh, I wish a big book would pick you. And like, can't Oprah pick your book? And I was like, just wait. So we were supposed to launch on November 2nd, and then the Jenna thing would be mid-November. But because of remember like the supply chain delays and things like that, they moved my pub day to November 16th. So Jenna announced it on pub day, and I was teaching that day, and it was just absolutely just like a one-of-a-kind thing. I mean, my teaching world and my writing world were so separate. I never brought those two things together. And for my students to be looking at the Today Show, and Hoda and Jenna are each holding a copy of it, they're like, you did that?
Oh, wow. That must have been so exciting.
It was. And my phone is lighting up with family members, and even like students of my wife's. One woman wrote her and she said, I'm in the dentist chair and I think your husband's book is on TV.
Oh, wow. That's great.
Yeah,
so give people just like your, 3-sentence pitch of what that book is about, because I want people to go back and read all your books.
A Little Hope. Yeah. A Little Hope is basically, so that it's a composite novel of 12 different characters in the town of Wharton, Connecticut. And they're all going through it takes place over the course of a year, and they're all going through some challenging things, but their lives are kind of intersecting in these unexpected ways. And they're showing up for one another and helping each other out, and just kind of solving all the things that we go through, all the challenges that we as humans have to encounter. And I think there's something beautiful about the seasons and the different characters in town, and following them over the course of a year.
And that's exactly what you do. You do this so beautifully. You get these people who are facing big life issues, and somehow they intersect. You do that a lot in your books, where their lives somehow manage to come together. The next one, A Quiet Life, does the same thing so beautifully. You start out with characters who are really just troubled. Tell folks where that one goes.
Yeah, so A Quiet Life is such a great title that I think my editor came up with A Quiet Life. I didn't come up with A Little Hope or A Quiet Life. I came up with the other two, the titles. But I love A Quiet Life, the title there, because each of the three main characters, their lives have gone quiet. Chuck, the one of the characters, his wife has died, and he's trying to, after 50 years or so of being together. He's trying to learn how to live without her. And one of the big questions he has is, should he go to the winter vacation rental in Hilton Head Island that they always went to together? It was prepaid and everything. Should he go without her? Should he make this long trip without her? Or should he just kind of forget about it and stay in his cold January Pennsylvania winter house and just forget about that? And the other two characters, their lives have gone quiet as well. Ella, who delivers Chuck's paper, her daughter has been kidnapped and she has no idea where she is and what she should be doing. And I mean, there's no template for something like that. How you figure that out. So she's working at a bridal shop and she's delivering newspapers, just trying to make the most of things. And then Kirsten, who works at an animal rescue place, just lost her father to a horrific shooting in the spring. And she's trying to make sense of her life as well and decide if she should still go to vet school that she was planning to do or what she should do.
Yeah. And then gradually, as the story progresses, they all manage to find themselves in each other's lives. We won't give too much away, but it's just such a beautiful story. And every one of these characters, they're so real. You know,
yeah,
after you put down the book, they still live in your head.
Well, thank you so much.
They're not forgettable characters. I mean, I will remember them always, I'm sure.
No, that means a lot. And every book is like your kid because every kid is different. If you think you've learned something and you try to apply it to the next one, it doesn't work. And A Little Hope was kind of the cooperative older child who everything kind of fell into place. I mean, not that it didn't need editing, but A Quiet Life was just, it taught me everything that I've learned about revision because the ending wasn't right. I rewrote the last 100 pages or so. The way the way the three strands of characters were going. So I love when somebody says that it felt like easy reading because I think, I always tell people it's all my sweat and blood and everything in that book because especially during COVID too, just when the world felt so uncertain to just try to go down there every day and sit and try to figure out what wasn't working. But so I'm probably most proud of that.
You figured it out. Because I'm telling you, reading it, there's no hint. It just seamlessly flows to this beautiful conclusion. And I was like, wow. So to me, it seems like he just comes off the fingertips and there it is. Poof, magic. But obviously, it's a lot of work to get there. So, no.
Yeah,
but the effort did not show.
Well, that's exactly what you hope. You hope it will just go into somebody's hands and they get to see all the beauty. And it's just like when you have somebody over for dinner, they didn't see that hour before when you're all yelling at each other and throwing things into cupboards.
Yeah, no, not at all. But now The Same Bright Stars comes next, and that's a gentleman who's at a crossroads too, but it's a little different.
Well, you know what's funny? I had started The Top of the World before The Same Bright Stars. I think I started that maybe in like fall 2020 or something like that. And that was driving me so bonkers that I had to put it aside. And that's when I started The Same Bright Stars. Yeah. So you can kind of see, if you read Same Bright Stars as a reaction against Top of the World, you can see because Same Bright Stars is really simple. It's set in contemporary times. It's set in my hometown, but it's one main character. And I think I just wanted something that was like pleasant and simple and something I understood and didn't keep bumping into walls with. We have the main character, Jack, who is in his 50s and he inherited his family restaurant that's been in his family for multiple generations. And he's just trying to figure out what he should do because he hasn't lived his life at all. He's just kind of put his life on hold. And he has this amazing offer from a restaurant group, but he feels like a sellout. He feels like he's betraying his found family that works in the restaurant. So he's struggling with that and trying to figure out his life. But you also get to see Rehoboth Beach in the off season and the kind of weird dual identity of living in a tourist town and not experiencing any of the fun about the tourist town.
Right. And I've done that too. I lived in Pismo Beach for a while, so I know what you mean, because in the summer was over and everybody went home. It was just us residents, and it's very different than, it's not like when you're the tourist that comes there. It's a very different
No,
experience.
it definitely. And what I always think is funny is that people will come like in the summer for 4 days, and they do more in those 4 days than we do in 2 years here. I mean, they have one night where they get like crabs and beer, and they go to the beach, they go miniature golfing, and I think sometimes the whole summer goes by and maybe we get to the beach once, or because it's just that urgency. It's like being in New York and going to the Statue of Liberty or something. It's just not the urgency that people have when they're here shorter amounts.
Well, and you're there, you're working and you're doing whatever, and you're not on a holiday, so it's like, well, there's the beach,
No, yeah, you're just trying to strategize around them. Like grocery shopping, we go at like the weirdest times. We go at like 6 a.m. grocery shopping. You don't want to go on Saturday.
Yeah, like we would go out to breakfast or something on the weekdays, because on Saturday, forget it. You can't get in the restaurants, and the streets are crowded. Yeah, I get it. I totally get it. But that's a beautiful book too. It's really emotional to go on this journey with Jack, and then what he ultimately decides is.
Well, thank you so much. Yeah, I love.
It's really good.
I think I enjoyed writing that one the most. That just I felt so connected to the town and Jack and everything going through that.
Well, I think a lot of us who grew up in smaller towns could relate to this whole conundrum, because all of a sudden you drive down the street and your favorite restaurant's gone.
Yeah.
And they're putting in some chain or something, and you're like, oh, it's like part of you dies.
Yeah.
I know, like in where I live, we had this fabulous restaurant, this Mexican restaurant, and the man that ran it, nobody really was interested in buying it and running it the way he was going to run it, and he just retired. And we still talk about it. I don't know, he's been out of business probably 10, 12 years, and we still go, oh, I wish we could go to, blah, blah, blah. So
those places live in you. And I have so much regret, like growing up, like those small businesses, like not supporting them enough, like a little hardware store, or like a mom and pop restaurant or something like that. It's just so important.
Well, we were kids. What did we know?
Yeah, exactly.
Now, of course, we understand it, and especially in this age of big giant corporations, and we won't go into all that. the big evil bookseller we won't talk about.
Exactly.
But speaking of booksellers, run out and get this one, because this now, I know you said this one was hard to write and you kind of fought with it for a while, but God, it just turned out so perfectly. Once again, there's no effort on the page. And this one is a little more complicated, I would think. First of all, you had to go back 52 years to 1974. So you had to get all those things right, which you did, because I remember them all. You had to set it in this Poconos resort. The Poconos were kind of, now I've never been there, but I remember seeing them on TV and hearing about them. And wasn't it like, who are the comedians who used to do the jokes about doing the Poconos? You used to see them on the variety shows, like I want to say Shecky Green or some of those guys. Remember?
Probably. Yeah, they were very iconic, and they had very campy in their ways. And
George wasn't like Milton Berle and those kind of guys. They were all on they go play these clubs, right?
Oh yeah, and just growing up there, I mean, the Poconos just lived in the background so much. I mean, whose parents went there for a honeymoon, who had worked summer jobs there, relatives and things like that. Yeah, it's just, and a lot of people going to shows. I mean, even when my wife and I were planning our wedding, we had looked into some of the Poconos resorts. It was just such a standard thing to consider. But then you started to see in the late 90s, some of them that were like on their last legs and failing, because there was so much land. I mean, everybody was coming back in the day, but then there was so much to maintain that a lot of once they started to lose customers, a lot of the places weren't able to do that. And then they were outdated, like with the heart-shaped bathtubs and things like that. And people were looking for different things, probably like the cruise industry and things like that probably took from that as well. But it's such an interesting story. And that's what I knew that I wanted to do. I knew I wanted to do Poconos, but I just wasn't sure how to frame it and how the characters fit into that story. So I think that was the challenge of it. But I rewrote it 3 different times. This is what actually was published was the 3rd version from complete. Like I started from scratch completely and wrote it.
Did you really?
Yeah, it really, This and A Quiet Life, I think, were my two most difficult. So every other book seems to be more of a problem child.
Well, in this one, you have Maggie, who's just graduated from high school.
Yes.
But she's graduating a year. Wait, do I have that right? She's graduating at 75, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, a year behind your brother. Yeah.
Because your timeline goes back and forth between 74 and 75. So she has this older brother, Chip, who had gone off to the Poconos, just left, just said, I'm going away for the summer. Bye, guys.
When he was sick.
And, yeah. And they didn't know what he had done. He came home, but they didn't know what his experiences had been while he was gone. Exactly. And now can we say what happened to Chip? Is that
it's from the very beginning, that.
Okay. So we know that he died. Yeah. So she's grieving him, and now she's trying to find out so she can process her grief, what happened that summer when he was gone.
The previous summer. You're exactly right. He during 1974, they're a year apart. He graduates high school. He's diagnosed with leukemia, and he decides to, instead of seeking treatment, because his doctor makes it pretty clear to him that they're not going to help him. They didn't have the technology for certain types that they do today, and even today it can be very devastating diagnosis. So he went away he just wanted to have this last normal summer and get a job and hopefully fall in love and have some adventure and do those kinds of things. But he won't tell his family about it. He disappears. And I think that reflects the time period too, that you could go away 30, 40 minutes away from your family and nobody knows where you are. And they just hope for the best. He returns and he dies that October, and then Maggie finds his pay stubs, and she is determined to go to this Red Maple where he worked and try to understand his life.
Right. And she's very interested in finding out how other people saw her brother, which I thought was fascinating. Because, if you have siblings, and I had a sister, people would say things to me like, I remember when she died, and they'd come up to me and this and that, tell stories about her. And I'd be like, oh, like things I never knew. Yeah. Because she was my big sister. I didn't know her the way people knew her out in the world. And I thought that was a really interesting approach that you took, that Maggie had to go on that quest to deal with her grief.
Yeah, and I think that is important. I mean, I think when we do lose somebody, I think we do want to hear about them. And I think we do want to hear the things we knew and the things we didn't know. And I think to enter into this world at Red Maple where there's all these new characters that knew and interacted with him and liked him is just such fuel for her as she's trying to understand herself and navigate graduating high school and moving out into the big world, but still trying to get out from under this giant grief of somebody who was such a presence in her life. They always did things a year apart. So I think those stories are really helpful to her.
And it was her only sibling.
Yes.
Which a lot of us can relate to, because I had one sister and that's just me. And it was a different time. And, to me, it was reading it just took me right back there, because like you said, you could disappear. Like there were no cell phones. No. There was no internet. Nobody had a computer in their house.
Location tracking or anything. No,
but I remember my sister working in the summers down at the Army Depot, and the Fortran cards, that's what computers were. They were a room.
Yeah.
And those punch cards, remember?
Yeah.
And computers were like, nobody could even imagine you'd have it sitting on your desk and doing something like this. Cars were completely different. I mean, we were driving big V8, cars running on regular gas at like 29 cents a gallon. I remember my father yelling at me I was wasting gas. I'm not made of money. It's 29 cents a gallon, And my kids just think that's the funniest story ever. It was a completely different world. Even readers right back there. So if somebody doesn't remember that time, they certainly can learn about it from the book. And then you bring in a character who I found very fascinating, who had been in Vietnam, which is another big thing from that time period.
Yeah, I really wanted to position that the story at a time where things are transitioning and things are changing. And it's right after Watergate in Vietnam is kind of ended at that point. And just trying to understand where the world is heading and what the world has been through. So I just found the 70s so perfect for that, and still that kind of nostalgia of that we still crave, that we don't get to see as much anymore.
Mm-hmm. But it's also just a wonderful story too. And what she discovers, she finds out a lot about her brother, and there's some big surprises that the family
Definitely a couple of twists
learns about. You're going, oh, because I was wondering. Well, I guessed one of them, but the other one I was like, oh my gosh. So there's mystery in this book that is a little different than some of your other books, that they don't have necessarily that component.
Yeah, I always try to build some new writing muscles with each book. That's always kind of a goal of mine, is to, if one is heavy on language and style, maybe one is going to try to do something different with plot. So yeah, I think having a few more twists, a little bit of mystery was important to me in this one.
Yeah, and they're fun twists too. I want people to go out and get this book, because this is a good summer book too. If you're like I am, away and you're on the beach, or you're in the mountains or somewhere, and you're looking for something that you can just escape with, you can go back to another time, to another place, go back to the Poconos, and you can read about a family and what they're going through, and just escape and lose yourself for a while, which is what we want to do on vacation, right? We just want to go forget about our real life for a while.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think it is. And we're talking about somebody dying and things like that, but I don't feel like it's a sad book. I feel like it looks at ways to understand being alive and look and celebrates that. And I think it does have that perfect summer vibe.
Yeah, it does. Well, and some people say, I don't want to read a book where somebody dies. Well, I'm sorry, but in real life, people die.
Yeah.
So I'm not one to criticize what other people want to read, but I like to read those meatier topics. I like to read about how people handle that, how they negotiate it. And, putting myself in the place of Maggie, she would be about my age now, and I had friends at the time who were losing brothers and sisters. I had a couple who lost them in car accidents,
Yeah.
And looking back now, I didn't understand. I didn't have a clue what they were going through. So I think that's a really important subject to address as a fictional writer, because it helps people understand and process their own experiences, or understand what other people in their lives have gone through,
I appreciate
that. I would urge people, don't shy away from it because of that. Because like you said, it's not a sad book overall. Yes, Chip does die, and that is sad. But, Maggie's got some other things going on that I think make it a happy book.
Definitely. Yeah, I think there's a lot of hope there. And the Band-Aid is ripped off from the beginning. I mean, we know that Chip has died right from the beginning. So it's not something you have to discover.
Yeah, exactly. So that brings me to, this book has only been out for what, a month?
June 30th. So just almost.
June 30th.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. A little longer than a month. Are you working on something else?
I am. I have a pretty solid draft of my next one together. So I think my agent's looking at it now. So we'll see where that goes. But that's kind of a multi-generational novel, which I wanted to do. So we'll see how that ends up.
And any timeline for when we can get our hands on that?
I would think quite a while still, maybe.
Okay. All right.
Maybe a year or two.
Because you know me, I always want another book, please.
Yeah, it moves. Everything moves very slowly.
I know.
Because so much is happening behind the scenes that writers aren't seeing sometimes. So, yeah.
Right. Is that with Scribner?
Hopefully.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we're still.
Well, they're nice.
Oh, they're
very nice people, and they're very generous. They send books all the time. They're very lovely.
Absolutely.
So we have to give them a shout out.
They've been an absolute dream to where I couldn't have picked a better publisher than Scribner. They're just so high quality, and all the people I've worked with have just been amazing.
Scribner and Blackstone are two of the ones that I've received books from a lot, and I always like to give them shout outs because they are very generous and very gracious about getting books to those of us who like to read in advance. And, I appreciate their generosity in that manner. So I always like to give a little plug. So tell me now, everybody wants to know, I know you have a busy life, you're writing, and are you back in school now? Has school started?
Yeah, it's pretty much has started. Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
I usually
um,
teach all over the summer too, so I don't really like get used to being too quiet. But the fall is a little
okay.
busier than the summer.
Didn't you just drop a kid off at college too?
Both kids are gone now. Yeah, our younger one went on Thursday, and now our older one went yesterday. So we are we're just
Oh,
we're not even 48 hours into empty nesting. It's very, very strange, but we think we prepared ourselves for the worst, so it hasn't been as bad as what we lived in our head for. So, but my wife and I have a good time together. We do a lot together. So, um, and it's just so rewarding to see the kids. I mean, of course, if you could press a button and just live with your kids forever, I mean, in my case, I would. It's just I love being around them and I enjoy them. But seeing them out doing things that they're excited about and rewarding, I mean, you would never trade one for the other. So it's just there's an understanding there. But the house is very quiet, and our dog died a couple of years ago, and then one of our cats died, so we're down to just one cat. So,
it's a big adjustment.
it is. But we have like a lot of like little mini trips and things like that planned. And we both had meetings up at the main campus in Delaware today. So my wife and I went, and it's my older daughter's birthday tomorrow, so we got to have like a pre-birthday lunch with her. So yeah, it's fun. It's so rewarding to see them turn into these amazing adults.
One of the happiest things for me was my youngest son took my advice and he lived with me instead of going out and renting. And I said, as long as you live with me and I see that you're putting money in the bank and saving up for a down payment, because when you move out, you should buy, I will not charge you rent. I will not charge you for food, nothing. I just had one rule for him, and that was if you're not coming home, just tell me you're not coming home.
Yeah.
I don't even care where you are or what you're doing. Just say, Mom, I'm safe. I'll see you in the morning. Because I don't want to get up at 3 and go,
yeah,
where is he? Where's the car? You know what I mean? And one of the happiest things in my life has been seeing him have his own home and enjoy it,
No,
And
it's amazing. And that's what you want. You wouldn't want it any other way.
No, he just loves the house that we found. And that's, it was weird when he first moved out though, because I was like, it is so quiet here. And it's just people.
Sure. You just don't sleep the same either. Like when they're all under one roof, the kind of sleep you get is so much better.
Took me a couple of weeks, but now I'm adjusted and it's fine. So anyway, so people want to know, with everything else that writers have going on, what they've been reading and if there are any books that you would recommend.
So what have I loved recently? Elizabeth Strout's newest one I love. Is that Tell Me Everything? No, it's not Tell Me Everything. It's blue. Shoot, I can't think of it. I'm so bad with titles.
I am too. I'm having a senior moment. I'll find it and I'll put it in the caption.
I'll know it as soon as I hear it. Lily King's
everything's something. I don't know.
Yeah,
I'll find it.
Is that Lily King's Heart, the Lover? I really liked. But right now, I just started Jason Rekulick's new book that's out in October. I'm such a fan of his writing, and I got to be in a conversation event with him in Pennsylvania. He's a horror, I guess technically a horror writer, but he's just, I love his writing, and I think a good writer will lead you to any genre. I think.
Yeah.
And I also have an early copy of Mary Beth Keane's newest book, and I love her writing, and I started that, but I have this habit of just starting like 3 books at a time. So
I got her book. I know something about a whale.
Whale Harbor. Yeah.
That's it. Whale Harbor. I have it. I haven't read it yet.
And that's because I don't want to rush through that, because I just want to savor it. And it's just, I've read, I think maybe the first chapter or so, and I just really, really love that. So yeah, I'm excited about those, but I have to read more.
And it's a beautiful book too. They said it to me. It was just gorgeous. So I can't wait to read that one. I'm going to do that when I get home. Well, those are some good recommendations. I've never read Jason. Is it Rekulick? Is that how you say it?
Yeah. He wrote Hidden Pictures, which was, it's, I mean, you can't talk about a page turner, but it's like unsettling and creepy, but just such great writing. And then the last one, At the Wedding, I think, is his other book, which I thought was really good. And that's not really horror. That's more psychological horror, I think, which I found really interesting. I'm also reading that book, Everything Was Beautiful and Nothing Hurt or something.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a Grim Reaper
Yes.
character. That's good too. I'm enjoying that.
Ben, I can't remember his last name.
Ben something with a EA in his name, maybe.
I'll find it.
Or PC.
I'm like you. I read so many books, I can't remember names and stuff sometimes.
Oh, and I listened on audio. I did a lot of traveling, so for my book tour, and I was listening to Ann Patchett's Whistler, and I thought I absolutely loved that. I was everywhere I would go, even like going to the gas station, I would just listen for 2 minutes, and I thought, and her narration was, I wouldn't have wanted to read it in any other format because what a beautiful story.
I love that book. I have not done the audio, but my copy is working its way through my book club, and when I get home, my in-person book club will be discussing it. I love that book so much. Oh.
So the other day I was somewhere, and sometimes your audiobook will start playing again in the car, and it started playing, and I just found myself, okay, I could probably listen to this all over again.
I should go back and listen to it if she's narrating it, because I love that book.
And I thought, what a neat thing to hear an author narrate their own work, because you just hear exactly how she wanted you to receive it as the reader. So I think it's really special.
Some authors don't like to do that. I heard John Grisham do an interview a few years ago where he said, "Yeah, no, you don't want me reading my books."
Well, that's how I feel. I mean, I no one has asked me to narrate mine, but I think there are more qualified people to read.
I haven't actually listened to a book for years, ever since COVID hit, because the only time I ever listened was in the car. And then when I stopped commuting to the office and there was no business travel anymore, and then I retired. I just find that I read faster than the person who's narrating. And then some people, like 𝐿 said, she speeds it up to like 1.5 or 2.
I speed it up pretty fast. Yeah. You can.
Don't they sound like chipmunks?
It's weird how you get used to it, because at first, but then you can keep going a little bit and a little, and I don't know what I can get up to, maybe like 2.2 or something. And it's pretty fast, but you can take it.
All right. Well, maybe I'll play around with that. Well, this has been delightful. Thank you so much for talking with me.
Thank you so much for having me on, Janie.
Well, I love doing these little chats because I just love helping people find books that they will love. See, I don't have my physical copy. It's back at home. I don't ever put books in my suitcase because
I know it's going to weigh you down.
I was at 51.5 pounds and they let me get away with it. And there weren't even books in there. Anyway, thank you, Hawaiian Airlines, for not charging me $50 for.
Don't buy anything on this trip. Don't buy anything.
No, if I have to buy anything, my kid's got to stuff it in his.
Okay.
Anyway, so this was delightful, and I will be very anxious to hear about the next book. Shout out to our Book Friends book club, to 𝐿 and Missy, because they're the ones that helped me discover you a few years ago. And I know when you have a new book, we'll all be chatting again in book club style, when that will be full of spoilers because everybody's read the book.
I always look forward to those.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you. Have a great evening.
Thanks so much, Janie. Take care.
Okay, you too. Bye-bye.
Bye.